Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm doing great because in this video I'm talking about Aggretsuko Season 5. I've made a video about Aggretsuko before if you'd like to check that one out, but I'll give a quick rundown of how I feel about the series as a whole. Basically, I like the premise, but I'm not the most enthusiastic about the direction it's gone. I thought this would be a show about ordinary office worker Aggretsuko overcoming the pressure to follow society's rules. Specifically, being traditionally respectable, working hard at an office job, and marrying a respectable man, ideally one who can provide for you so you can stop working. Then you have children and be a good wife. The biggest issue I had with Aggretsuko is when she chose to be an office worker over being a rocker idol. Throughout the seasons, we see her hate her job, and she enjoys being on stage and being a rocker. She makes friends with the other women in the group, and their success makes this a viable job option for her in the future. When she's assaulted by a stalker, I expected her to overcome her trauma and choose a life that goes beyond the standard path. But she doesn't. I know what she went through is not as simple as saying, oh, she overcomes it. But the show could portray how difficult that is for her and therefore reinforce her desire to have a life and a job that she truly loves and enjoys. The show also starts introducing Haida as a more tangible love interest for Aggretsuko. Of course, he's had a crush on her the whole time, but she's always viewed him as a friend. In fact, I would say that she viewed him as a colleague, and then starts to see him as a friend. In Season 5, they are a proper couple, but I really wish there had been more of them falling in love. More foundation for their relationship, because I don't think it was there on her part. With Tadano, Aggretsuko literally floated through the sky. Where was that with Haida? It makes me feel like the show is telling us not to expect romance and fireworks, but rather giving into the guy who really likes you and is always there. And maybe he doesn't make your heart beat faster, but being an accountant is a steady job and he's always there. We needed more dating scenes between them. Like when he's teaching her how to play bass and she begins to see him as more than just a colleague. They become friends and she cares about him, but love him. I don't know if I saw that happen. Basically, the 5th season for me felt a bit like the last season of Game of Thrones. Things are happening and I feel like the groundwork isn't there. One of the biggest things that happens in Aggretsuko's life is her running for office and campaigning against Haida's younger brother Jiro. She's convinced to do this by the head of the Rage Party, a creature I first thought was a bat until I saw he had a tail and I don't know, maybe a marmoset? Anyways, I think this character should have appeared right at the beginning of the series instead of halfway through. Instead of a montage of him popping up everywhere to convince her, we should have had it in real time. This guy should have been jumping out while she's worried about Haida and as they start living together. There's so many scenes of her and Feniko in the break room while Ton watches the news. Why not have Aggretsuko slowly start paying more and more attention to politics and the needs of the people? When she learns about the people living in internet cafes and their struggle to get out of that life, maybe she does some googling into how serious the situation is. Maybe she brings it up to the Rage Party guy. Maybe she talks about it with Haida. And then she starts to wonder, I wonder if there's anything I could do about it. Because it feels like it comes from nowhere. Suddenly, Aggretsuko cares about changing society? Remember when Tadano talked about wanting to do just that and she thought he was a bit mad, like she just wanted an ordinary life? Honestly, I didn't want her to win the election. I felt bad for Jiro. His whole life he's been working hard and preparing to achieve this, and now some random red panda decides she wants it spur of the moment? But yes, of course, her running helps him break out of his father's clutches and reconnect with Haida. So, in the end, I do think having her lose was the right decision. But this whole arc felt so random. Throughout the series, I kept expecting her to rebel against society's expectations, but for me, we never get that to a satisfactory level. She only lives with Haida because he's homeless and there's no other choice. Not because she decided to go against the expectations of getting married first. When he meets her family, she lies to them that he's unemployed and only comes out with the truth and stands by him when he decides to tell the truth. When she meets his family and the father insults her, she smiles and puts up with it because she's a good girl and she's supposed to. Where was the death voice? When Haida is ruining his life playing video games online, she messages him to break up with him until he gets his shit together. That's such a passive thing to do. He deserved the death voice way before he moved out without telling her. And she only runs for office because someone else convinced her to. And she only does it the way she wants to at the last moment, which would have been fine if this was season 1 instead of season 5. Why is she still like this after everything she's gone through? I feel like her whole arc is, yes, you may feel like raging out to society, but don't. Find a safe outlet and continue to live life as a good citizen. Ton has a way better character arc than Aggretsuko. He's an asshole that gets humbled and grows from that experience. He's one of the people that pushes Aggretsuko to run for office because she doesn't do things unless someone else pushes her to. Okay, let me take a breath and discuss something I liked about season 5. Of course, I'm talking about our favorite purple donkey, Tadano. I wish we'd seen him more. I always enjoy this character, though it was extremely wasteful of him to buy an entire internet cafe just to occupy one cubicle. It's kind of him to keep helping out his ex and her new boyfriend, though it's probably because he's still in love with her.
Retzi is just amazing.
Which is something I hate. Tadano should have ended up with Shikabane. Maybe not as a couple, but like they meet and like sparks fly. He could have infused her with some of his zest for life. Give her the life Aggretsuko didn't want. I liked Shikabane's character. It was interesting to incorporate her character and all the people who live in internet cafes. But I hate that it had to be done through Haida, who I continue to dislike as a character. Remind me again what Aggretsuko likes about him? Right, he's simply always there, butting his nose into her business whilst not even telling her that his father is a big deal politician or that he spent all his money and ended up homeless. All I could think about in those first few episodes is that I don't like Haida. And why has this show become so Haida focused? But at least he did come to her aid when she was being followed and landed a real good kick. And yes, he is a very supportive boyfriend once she decides to run for office. It's so weird. It's like I like this show, but I don't. I'm glad it's over because I would have continued to watch it until it's over because I needed to know how it all turned out. My summary is that it did not deliver what it promised in season 1, though it's possible that I misunderstood this whole thing. What we have been given is Aggretsuko grappling with society's expectations and ultimately accepting them for the most part, I guess. Well, she found a man, and that's what's important. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to end the video here. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did. I've been Kayla, and see you next time. Bye.